Tesla is and has been one of the hottest and most exciting stocks over the last couple of years, and I'm sure you know all about it. The company pretty much came out of nowhere. It revolutionized the auto market, and it now makes over 1 million electric cars a year and has pushed legacy manufacturers to make EVs as well. I'm sure you're also aware that their stock price has soared. They are now the most valuable auto manufacturer in the world by a very long way as well. Now, there are lots of people who think that Tesla is overvalued, people like Michael Burry, but there are also lots of people who think that Tesla is grossly undervalued, like Cathie Wood. I'm going to try and not get into my opinions on that during this video, but I'm sure some of you will know what my opinions are anyway. Whichever side of the fence you fall on, you probably agree that their resting point is not where the stock lies now. When it comes to Tesla, people tend to be bullish or bearish, but rarely somewhere in between. Now, if we go back a year, Chamath Palihapitiya would have been clearly on Cathie Wood's side. He was an early investor who put tens of millions into the company. He was a believer that Tesla was going to the moon. The stock would reach $3,000 a share, robo-taxis would soon be roaming the streets in their millions, and legacy car makers wouldn't be able to even stay close. Recently, however, it was revealed that he had sold out of Tesla. 100% of his position was gone, despite the fact that he was telling everyone to hold on to their stock just a few months earlier. In this video, we're going to look at why Chamath sold out of Tesla, what he thinks it might mean for Tesla in the future, and whether or not anyone should ever trust him. But really quickly, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. If you want to help the channel grow and ensure we can continue to make content like this, then consider helping us out through our brand new Patreon. Link is down below in the description.
There is a huge opportunity to build a distributed energy utility. You know, I've mentioned this to you before, but I think there's going to be a cataclysm in the energy markets. I think the utilities are under duress. They're in a very, very difficult spot, and the laws don't understand what will happen when individuals like you and I can generate our own power. And so, you know, again, closing the circle on Virgin, you know, when I sold a couple $100 million, it was in large part to fund this thing, which is quickly becoming, over the next few years, in my opinion, will be the largest distributed energy utility in America. So I'm very proud of the work that I'm doing over here, and hopefully, you know, I'll pick up a little bit of the slack that Tesla is not going to be able to, you know, operationalize as they build an incredible EV business. And so both things I think will happen. I think it'll manifest in a different company.
You still have a sizable stock position in Tesla?
No.
You sold it?
Yeah.
When?
Over the last few years, we've sort of, you know, not last few years, like really in the last year or so particularly, you know, the prices allowed me to, again...
Surprised to hear you say that after what you just said about the company.
Well, I don't have an infinite pool of capital. You know, I'm myself. I don't raise funds. I can't go to other people. And so when I have these ideas, the money has to come from someplace. The only other solution would be for me to get totally levered up. And I'm just not comfortable with that risk. And so, you know, I'm a meager guy with meager means.
Yeah, right.
So in that interview that we just saw, Chamath admitted that he had sold out of 100% of his Tesla position, an investment which had made him a 1000% return over the last 4 years. He literally 10x'd his investment over the last few years, and as little as a few months ago, he was still claiming that Tesla could quadruple its share price. Now obviously, Chamath is crazy successful. Whether or not you like him, whether or not you agree with his morals or his SPAC dealings, he is a successful investor. He started working at Facebook and left in 2011 with an awful lot of money to start Social Capital, a venture capital firm that runs in Silicon Valley and invests in some of the most high-profile businesses in the world. Nowadays, he only runs his own money in the fund. He also has a habit of getting out of a company right before a stock price plummets. One of his biggest plays is where he basically took Virgin Galactic public via a SPAC, made himself loads of money in the process, and then left right as the company was expected to fall. Lots of people are now suggesting that he's doing the exact same thing with Tesla. Some people are literally claiming that Tesla is about to crash purely because Chamath has sold his investment and that he has some inside knowledge that none of us know about. Now, I'm not saying that Tesla is or isn't about to crash, but I am saying that we shouldn't be looking at Chamath's investment strategy as an indicator for whether or not Tesla will collapse. Now, you just heard Chamath say that he sold his Tesla shares because he wants to invest in energy storage and production, and says that market is about to explode with growth and he wants to be where the money is. Now, for people who are familiar with Chamath and his views on Tesla in the past, that's going to sound a little odd to you. Earlier in the year, he said that Tesla was going to quadruple in price because of the energy storage side of the business. This seems a lot like backtracking from him. He thinks energy is going to be very valuable, and he used to say that Tesla was going to dominate the energy market, so why would he sell Tesla? Well, his argument for that is that Tesla have their work cut out with them with EV cars, and that will be their focus, so they won't be able to focus on energy as much as he'd like. He did, however, find a way to phrase that in a much more positive way. He said that in the past, he underestimated how large the EV market will become, and that Tesla will grow so hugely in that area that they will have to neglect energy storage because they'll be so successful with EV cars. Personally, I don't think he's telling the truth about his views on Tesla and why he sold his position, and I'll explain why in a moment. Now, with the S&P trading at its highest valuation since the dot-com bubble, most people are starting to consider alternative investments. They're looking for non-market correlated assets that are more resilient than traditional investments. Now, if you're thinking about alternative investments, then you need to hear about this video's sponsor, Masterworks.io, and how they can help you to invest in fine art. Now, we all know that the super wealthy love to invest in art, but you might not know why, and the truth is actually quite simple. Fine art has historically appreciated at 14% a year compared to the S&P 500's return of 9.5% since 1995. On top of that, the $1.7 trillion held in art is expected to grow by another $1 trillion over the next 5 years. The only problem is that fine art is often valued in the millions of dollars, so the vast majority of us can't afford to build a proper diversified portfolio of art. Luckily enough, Masterworks.io allow you to invest in million-dollar artworks without breaking the bank. Through their platform, you can purchase SEC qualified shares of paintings by legendary artists like Banksy and Basquiat, just like shares in a public company. You simply visit Masterworks.io, create an account, browse their latest artwork, and select the number of shares you want to own and invest in any of the current offerings. From there, you can either hold your shares until Masterworks sells the painting or sell the shares on the secondary market. Some investors have already received a 32% annualized return from Masterworks' first and only sale of Banksy's Mona Lisa. This really is a brilliant platform that is opening up the high-end art market to everyone, but as a result of that, there is a long wait list for those who want to invest with them. Luckily, I've partnered with them on this video to provide you all with a link to let you skip that waitlist, which can be found in the description of this video. So what is Chamath's history, especially with SPACs, and why don't a lot of people trust him? Well, the story starts where Chamath became really famous, and that was by taking companies public via SPACs. Now, for those of you who don't know, SPACs are special purpose acquisition companies. Basically, public companies whose only purpose is to merge with a private company to take them public. In doing so, they're used to get around certain financial regulations and to guarantee a certain amount of capital raised for the company that wants to go public. Now, Chamath has a habit of raising a SPAC, making a buttload of money for himself, and then leaving the company right as it falls in value, causing the investors who bought when the company finally went public to lose a lot of money. Lots of people, especially those who like hyped up stocks like Virgin Galactic, don't like him because of this. He also has the unfortunate habit of saying one thing to the public but doing another thing behind closed doors to benefit himself, again making a lot of money. He literally just did this with Tesla over the last year and has obviously annoyed an awful lot of Tesla fans in doing so. Rightly so, if I might add. As for my perspective on this whole ordeal, I just think that Chamath probably isn't telling the truth about why he sold out of Tesla. He also definitely should have said a while ago that he was going to sell, instead of telling everyone to keep holding the stock in order to keep the price high so that he could complete his exit strategy. In my opinion, there's probably a good chance that he thinks the company is overvalued and due for a correction, and I think that's probably why he sold out. His excuse that Tesla is going to be too busy with cars to focus on energy doesn't make much sense to me. Yes, Tesla are obviously expanding very quickly, but they were also expanding just as quickly a year ago when he still thought Tesla would dominate the energy sector as well. As usual, with investors like Chamath, it can be really valuable to listen to them, to hear them out and evaluate what they have to say based on their own merit. Obviously, we shouldn't believe everything someone has to say just because of who they are or their track record. And we also shouldn't expect someone like Chamar to act against his own best interest in order to further our interests instead. He may have sold out of Tesla now, but that doesn't mean he wants the company to fail. They are consistently profitable, they have loads of cash, and they don't need to release more shares anytime soon just to fund operations like they used to. If Chamath had done this a few years ago when Tesla was at risk of going bankrupt, then I would understand all the vitriol and the hatred for him regarding this issue. But Tesla has evolved past that point today. Just because somebody shorts the company or decides to exit their long position doesn't mean they're pushing for the bankruptcy of Tesla. Tesla is going to continue making EVs, they're going to continue driving the market towards a more green future, and their share price doesn't really have any impact on that mission anymore.